Hoppy. This is Hoppy Hour.
Sup, dude?
Oh, we're starting?
Yeah.
Oh, this is it? Where's the intro music?
No, that's for my singular talk show where I rant about the news. I thought because I've been here 4.5 years and it's taken 4.5 years to get you on the show, we should just get right into it.
I mean, there's no intro or anything? I didn't hear this is Hoppy Hour. I mean, how does that intro even go? Because I'd listen.
I usually do it all the time. I'll have an intro at the beginning of my talk show, but you're such a busy guy and you're always so busy for me that I can't even believe that Mike Oliveiro's on my show, that I'm just trying to get right into it.
I thought that being this was Hoppy Hour, I thought it'd be like somewhat happy hour and there'd be some bourbon or something like that here.
We can't drink at work. Now, if we
Who
were to do it,
says? It's after hours.
now, if we were to do it at your house,
You know, first of all, there'd be Frenchies all over the place and they'd be pissing and shitting everywhere. I love Jarvis and Friday, but man, those dogs are just untamed.
well, couldn't you just put them in another room?
No, because they're like, those dogs, as small little Frenchies as they are, they're like fucking apes, man. They come barreling through the door. They pretty much knock the damn thing down. They're animals in more ways than one.
And now that your son Chase is a cop, I wouldn't want to piss him off either.
Chase. He's another one. He's another animal. Kid's 16 going on 25. He's out of control.
Dude, it is weird. Within the last 4 years, he went from being like a little kid to being like a little mini you. It's frightening.
He has still somewhat that little boy voice, but he's just friggin', they call it farm boy strong. He's farm boy strong.
Him and Mike Calta's son both went from being like little kids to like mini adults within 4 years. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but Joey is, I think, 3 or 4 years younger than Chase. And, you know, Mike's 6'3", and I'm only 5'8". So, I mean, Joey's going to be big. Poor Chase. He's got my genes. He's not going to be very tall.
How far is your son going to go in life with your genes?
I mean, he's definitely not going to be in the NBA or anything like that, or probably play football. But I don't know. Whatever he wants to. You know, his big kick, he wants to be a Marine, so I would love to see that.
What if he said he wanted to go into radio?
No fucking way.
Because you often hear people go that are big in radio, they go, oh, I'll support my kids and let them go into radio. But so you're being honest and you say no.
No, I'd rather him not. I mean, I've been in this market 29 years. I've been in the state of Florida doing radio for 31 years. Great. I mean, I'm very lucky and very blessed that it put a roof over my family's head and fed them and allowed us to have some great experiences. But I haven't gotten rich doing radio. My name's not Calta and stuff. And, you know, God bless Mike for everything he's done in his life. He's earned every dollar he's gotten, and he just keeps getting better and better. I'm not saying it as a kiss ass or a suck up because I work with him. I've known Mike since 1996, and we've been friends ever since then, on the air and off the air. But he's amazing. But for every, you know, Mike Calta or your big, you know, stalwart morning shows across the country, you got a bunch, you know, the other 80% who doesn't, you know, get the opportunity to make that money and stuff. And radio's much different than it was, you know, 10, even 15 years ago, where, you know, you could have an afternoon jock who makes $100,000 a year back then. Right now, that's not as plentiful as it used to be.
What do you think it changed?
The Telecom Act, when that went in, where you could have, you know, 8 radio stations in the market, it took away the farm system. I mean, you used to see all the time when I first broke into radio that, you know, you'd see guys jump from smaller markets into big markets and have that opportunity. But now with voice tracking that some other companies do, I mean, we don't do it here. I mean, we're live and local on the bone. I mean, Roger and JP, yeah, we piped them in from New York, but I mean, that's a full-fledged show that they do just for the bone. And, you know, they're not voice tracking 35 seconds at a clip like some, you know, there's a jock here in town, and I want to say he's on 50 different stations across the country, and he's probably making, you know, whatever his salary is on plus, you know, $500 or $1,000 a month per market. But what that's doing, that's taking away jobs. It's taking away jobs from other people who, you know, want to get in this business and can't now.
Yeah, that is annoying about that company down the block, is that they'll make you feel like Ryan Seacrest is in this market and he's not. And it drives me nuts because then radio goes, where's the next up-and-coming talent? But then when you're paying a board-op minimum wage to air somebody who's already made it, it's like, how are you going to grow talent if you're not growing talent?
Well, I'm not going to shit on the industry that's, you know, given me this much, you know, life, you know, over the course of my career and stuff. But, I mean, I do wish the decisions by the higher-ups that in, you know, not in this company's great. And, yeah, look, when I was working at Clear Channel, I thought it was great there, too. But then you just see some of the things turning, and they're doing the hub and spoke thing. And we had a big traffic studio that was in where we called the Rock Barn, and they were doing traffic for, you know, 10, 12 other markets. And kudos to them for figuring out a way to do it right. But the problem is that, you know, the great thing about radio and the way it started, and I'm getting very, you know, old man and okay boomerish right now, but, you know, it's back then it was just like live and local talent. You go out in your community and you could shake hands with the midday person or the night guy or the, you know, the afternoon girl or whatever. And now, unless you're in a big market like Tampa, I mean, you don't know if you're going to talk to someone from across the street who's here, and they might come in once a year because they have to come in for whatever rock show they're doing and stuff. But look, I give kudos and credit to people who grind it out and do this job every day. There's people who actually give a shit and actually care that this is a great industry. Look, everyone's leaning towards Spotify these days, but when there's a motherfucking hurricane coming down the coast and everything, Spotify ain't telling you where to get ice after the aftershock and all that stuff. So radio's still the best medium, bar none.
I heard a rumor when I had Rizzuto on, who does a morning show in St. Louis, a very popular morning show, and he said that Spotify is going to try and do like what Sirius does by having like music and then DJs talking within the music and maybe adding talk programming, which would be different than the podcasting, because this would be like 24/7 on a clock format. Does that threaten radio?
I don't think so. I think radio is still the ultimate medium. I mean, look, for some music stations, and that you're hearing the same music over and over on different formats and stuff. I mean, rock radio for the most part, unless it's classic rock radio is dead. I mean, what's the last great next rock record that came out? I mean, that one band that sounds like Zeppelin, I forget their name off the top of my head. Greta Van Fleet. I liked them for a bit and stuff like that, but everybody was saying they were a Zepp ripoff and stuff. But where's the next great rock band? You see rock shows and all these big rock shows that come through the market and stuff, and it's the same tired theory of a Dead Man and Disturbed and Shinedown and all that stuff coming over and over. And I love Shinedown, and all those bands are great. But I mean, where's the depth? Where are the newcomers? Where are they coming? And the problem is, you put a rock studio album together, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars of studio time. You get a loop on a rap track. It takes you 15 seconds to put out a record these days, And
then it seems like rock music is more popular in some parts of America than others. Like, for example,
more your blue collar areas.
For example, when Smashing Pumpkins did their tour last year in Chicago, it was sold out because Billy Corgan's from Chicago. But I heard here in Tampa, it was like halfway full at the Amalie. So it's like it doesn't translate everywhere.
Well, I mean, here, Tampa's a unique market. So we have almost 3 million people between, what our boundary is, and that's between from Polk County all the way down to Sarasota, all the way up to, Citrus County, and it's sprawling. And not everybody could afford to spend, back when concert tickets were $25 and $35 and $40, it was a little bit easier. But, old man me went to Elton John the other night, and it was $250 a ticket, which, I had the money. I was lucky to do that, and I was very fortunate to get the tickets. But, some people, when on the aftermarket, those tickets are going for $1,000, and people are plucking it down. And you look at some of the, prices that these acts charge. I mean, man, I'm, stoked to see Metallica in Daytona in, May when they come through. But some of the VIP tickets are $495 for a ticket.
Are we going as a show?
I hope so. I'm working on it. But think about it. 2 tickets for that weekend, that's $500 each. That's $1,000. I mean, that's double some people's rent and stuff. It's just that. And the problem is that it's cyclical, because what happened with radio wound up affecting the record companies, and the record companies can't support radio and the touring acts the way that they used to. And these acts, they have to make their money, so they got to charge what they do.
So you'll hear a lot of rock DJs, especially from like Seattle, go, "Oh, I saw Soundgarden or Temple of a Dog before they were a thing." Who are some bands that you thought were going to take off that didn't?
Man, I don't know. I've been lucky because I used to do a show called Livestock when I was at the other place. I came up, with the name and helped, bridge the concept of what that was like. And we had Soundgarden and Livestock too, and they played on that Friday night. And, at that time, they were relatively brand new back in 1991. And then there was some other actually thought, like, there was this one act, I'll never forget, our program director, Greg Ball. There was this band called The Four Horsemen. And it was a good record, but he was like, this is going to be the greatest rock album ever. And I know this guy, Ted, who is the APD and Midday guy, and Ted was one of those guys, you could take or leave and everything, but he was pretty funny. He goes, there's no fucking way this record's going to be any good. And the record was decent, but it wasn't anything that, Google Four Horsemen now, I think that was the only record they came out with. So I mean, it's hit and miss, just like anything else. You got your one-hit wonders, and you got your people that, go ahead and, put out stuff. But when's the last great rock album that came out that people go like, oh, my God, you got to hear this. This is great.
I don't even think Greta Van Fleet's that big. They had that one song.
Well, it started out as an EP, right? And, they had a good buzz. And I give them credit because they came out with music that, yeah, it sounded like Zepp, but it was a different sound because it wasn't everything. It was like, and, stuff that was depressing. I mean, the great thing about rock that I was lucky, that I got into radio about was that in the 80s, it was like that arena sex rock. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, yeah, Bon Jovi had all the hair bands and stuff. And it was about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And that's the way it was back in the day. And you would see, girls would get all nicely slutted up for shows, and they look hot. And, everybody wanted to be a rock star, and, they couldn't be the band, so they wanted to look like the band. And it was a different time. And then, the 90s came and grunge came, and everybody got depressed, and, lyrics had, deep meaning, and girls started gravitating towards hip-hop artists and stuff, or they started getting, out of the demo and started having kids, and just like, rock just kind of went dead.
So do you think the dark rock from Seattle kind of ruined the vibe?
I don't think it ruined the vibe, but I think it was more realistic. I mean, the 80s, were very carefree, and then AIDS happened. And then it was just like, AIDS, it doesn't affect, us because, we're heterosexual. And then, look, HIV affects everybody. That happened to Magic Johnson. It could happen to anyone, right?
But do you think he's getting special treatment to be alive?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
But it seems like he's beating it.
Well, I mean, so there's a lot more AIDS. Look, my cousin John, God rest his soul, he died of HIV back in 91, 92. Pulse nightclub was named after him that my cousin Barbara owned. But, I mean, John, there was no medication at the time, and his family had to sign off for testing. And, for HIV now, I mean, they have more and more, medicine, and they're doing more and more clinical trials. As advanced as we are medically, it should never get to the fact that someone has to die from HIV now. And I think it's a credit to the medical community for coming up with a solution to it. I don't think you'll ever have the disease go away, but you'll be able to prolong someone's life so they can live a happy, normal, and productive life just like anyone else, and they deserve to.
What would have it been like if there was social media back when you first began in radio?
Oh, my God. If there was social media back then, half the stuff that I witnessed or heard of would have never happened. It's just, like I said, it was all, the USF Sundome. I remember, I don't want to say the rock star's name, but, you could hear things go, so we would do meet and greets with these bands in the Green and Gold Room, which was downstairs of the Sundome, and there was a rock star who likes to hunt and shoot rifles and is an NRA guy, and he was back with a girl that we affectionately called Hori Lori because she was the welcoming committee for a lot of these bands, and they were doing it so hard that the bathroom stall knocked over. So that was pretty cool.
Is he the one guy that loves Trump?
Could be.
Rhymes with Fred?
It could be.
What a legend.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what he says, but man, that's awesome.
But then, when we had Livestock, I know, a couple of the artists hooked up with some of the other people there. It's just, we did that. That was, there were girls in the campground just getting, shooting videos of them having a good time. And it was just, they wound up being on porn sites and all that other stuff.
Well, there is that one video on Pornhub of a girl at Mardi Gras in 1998, and she's whipping out her boobs, and then she has sex in the back room. It's like one of the famous porn videos.
Yeah, that stuff, it was a different time then, but now with camera phones, you can't, first of all, you can never say anything. Everybody's getting all over Tom Brady because they think he allegedly said the N-word. And if you hear the whole audio, it does sound like it, but it's not what it said, contemplated this morning. So, look, with camera phones and everything, that it didn't ruin everything, but you have to watch what you say and watch what you do a lot more.
It seems like Generation Z is ruining things by being offended over things without knowing any info.
I don't know about that. I just think everybody's easily offended. Here's the thing. If you are okay and confident within yourself and your body, and you could look in the mirror and accept the person that you are, you don't need to be offended about anything. You could call me a fucking asshole. There's the one time you call me Michael. I hate being called Michael.
Forgot about that.
I'm not going to get offended about that stuff, but tell me I'm a horrible dad or that I don't work hard, and then I won't get offended. I'll go fuck you. I'll show you. I work my ass off every day, and I try my best to be a good dad. I can't say I'm the best, but those are two things, trying to give my all at work and trying to be a good dad. Those are the things things I care most about.
The one thing that you bring 100% to the table each time is you're very loyal and you'll go to bat for people.
Yeah.
Every time.
I can't say that I've had a lot of advocates for me who would, people who would stick their neck out for me. But, there's a certain guy who, look, he used to work here and used to work for me, under me in promotions. And, I stuck my neck out for him, and he went to work for a morning show, and now he's working up in New York City for a big satellite network, and he's got a great job. And there were 3 different times I was told to fire this individual, and I went to my general manager. It's I'm not going to fire him. He's good. He's going to make something of himself, and God bless him. He's doing great.
Is it weird seeing him do great though and be like, man, I saved your ass?
No. I mean, look, you can't live in yesterday. You can't live in the past. You got to look forward. And if you do things the right way and you're always looking out, I love growing people. And I'm not saying that, hey, I'm going to take you from A to Z. If I take you from A to L and you get from M to Z on your own, God, fantastic. That's what I want you to do. I can't teach you everything. So if there's certain things that you're going to grasp and there's going to be certain things that you don't. But, I could take some people from A to Z, and I have, and there's some people that, they didn't work out for me, but wound up working out for other people. So, I think it's just, you pay it forward. Someone gave me an opportunity years ago when I had no radio experience, put me in a promotion director chair, my first job ever in radio. And I'm fortunate. I never had to work my way up. I never had to, drive the van and, put up the friggin' station inflatable. And, I started out in management. The sad part of that is, 31 years later, I'm still doing promotion. So I'm doing something wrong.
See, I think you're hard on yourself on that. I mean, I know you wanted bigger and better things, but I mean, it seems like you've done pretty well. It's a weird thing with you. I don't get it.
No, I'm very fortunate that I have a job that, like I said, it's put a roof over my family's head and put, a kid through college and help, my other kids. And, I've been married a couple times, so I had stepkids who I, always helped out. But, to me, I didn't play the market jumping game. I always had to stay in this market because, look, I made bad decisions as far as marriage and stuff, and I wound up getting divorced, and I didn't want to leave my kids. For me, it was always family and my children first, and it's weird to say that because there's times I work 7 days a week, and I don't see my family as much as I like, but, my children are everything to me, so I couldn't there were times I had job offers in Los Angeles and a couple other markets, and I didn't take it because it would have meant leaving my kids, and I hate going on vacation, more than 4 days. After 4 days, I start missing Chase, and, when Alyssa was here, I would miss her, and I couldn't imagine being away from them months at a time. It would drive me insane.
How hard is it having Alyssa in Texas?
It's so her and I mean, our bond is so much different than the bond I have with Chase. Alyssa's mom, God rest her soul. I mean, she got hooked on drugs, and, when I met her, she was a drug addict, and I tried she was my project. I was going to make her life better, and I was going to clean her up and straighten her out, and it's hard to change an addict, man. It really is. And I had her clean for a little bit, and that's when we had Alyssa. And then when Alyssa was 2, Jeannie got bored. She didn't want to be a house mom anymore. She started working, and then she started working with and hanging out with the wrong crowd, and she got hooked on drugs again. And, I tried saving our marriage. We reconciled like 5 times. My attorney drove the fees up because of that, and I just couldn't take it anymore and, wound up getting divorced. And the hard part was that I remember the first night that Alyssa was a little bit more than 4 when we got divorced, and I remember the first night that I moved out and it was in my own apartment, and I just cried because I was so used to every night putting Alyssa to bed and giving her a kiss and read her a bedtime story and stuff, and I was robbed of that, through the divorce. And her mom got hooked so bad she went through all the money that she won in the divorce, and she died 9 days after Alyssa turned 9 and 9 days before her birthday on Alyssa's 9th birthday. So the number 9 was weird at the time.
How have you been a parent over the years to help protect her since then?
It's hard. You could teach your kids and try to, you can only protect them so much when you're only with them so many hours, and then the school system and their friends and influences and MTV at the time, or, social media now has so much more of an influence on your child than you do. You hope that you've raised them to where they make the right judgment call and they make good choices and responsible choices. But I mean, Chase driving now at 16 years old, it scares the fuck out of me that he's on the road at night, and, he checks in with me and stuff, but, sometimes, I give him a curfew, 1 o'clock like mine was when I was 16. And I always say there's nothing good that happens after midnight.
Especially in Ybor.
And anywhere. I mean, it's not Ybor anymore, man. You could be a friggin' Lando Lakes up there, man, and shit goes down. It's, it's anywhere. But, I know I'm sounding like an old fogey and an old fuck and stuff like that, but, just try to make sure I'm a good dad for my kids.
Do you read his social media?
I do, but Chase is smart. He knows, like, a lot of his shit's on Snapchat and stuff. And, he's dating girls now, and I'm just saying, look, be respectful. That's it. Just don't do anything that you could be, not stuck with, but one that, could have ramifications for you for the rest of your life. But also, too, you respect women, and you treat them the way you want to be treated. Don't be one of those guys who does stuff and, talk shit about them behind their back. You got to treat them like ladies all the time.
Why should people check out your show?
Why? I don't know, because it's better than listening to, I don't know. I can't think of a good reason why they should listen on Saturdays. I don't know. I'm not funny and edgy and stuff. Look, you're not going to get politics and political bullshit on the show. You're not going to get, talking about Trump. I am kind of like interested now. They just announced today that Michael Bloomberg's going to run for the Democratic position. So, I mean, that's somewhat intriguing. Trump against Bloomberg, 2 New Yorkers going at it. I don't know if Trump's going to get the nod for the Dems. But I'm not a big politics guy because, like I said last week on the show, it's like yelling into a 180-mile-an-hour wind as 40-foot waves are coming upon you, and nothing good's going to come out of it.
I feel you. Dude, you're getting a phone call. You're a busy man. I got to let you go.
That's it? We're done? This is my happy hour? I thought it was happy. I didn't know it was happy 25 minutes.
Yeah, dude. I like to give you just get in and out. You're so busy.
Jeez, whatever.
Dude, you did the show.
All right, I did the show.
The Mike O radio show, 2 to 4 p.m. on 102.5 The Bone.
Hopefully one day it's 2 to 6.
Can we get that already?
Or hopefully one day it'll be like 9. So my whole goal is to have the show Saturday nights from 9 to 1. 9p to 1a. That's what I want to do.
But then how would I board up during the day?
We'd have to find another board op, and then you'd have to come in at night. Because just think about it, though. Because, so back in the day, there used to be this guy, Harrison Dangler, and he used to do the Saturday Night Lounge. I think it was on FLA back in the day. And Harrison was one of those guys. You think Slater's funny. He was like Slater, just as funny and just quick and had that quick wit and was sarcastic and just would do all that stuff. And I always said, that's the kind of show I would love to do on the Bone on a Saturday night. Just be in the studio or out on location as people and have them calling like, hey, man, I'm drunk. I need an Uber here, and sending somebody Uber money, or being on location at some of the bars and just having a good time and just have people like, hey, Saturday night we're having a party up here in Pasco and everything. Talk to us.
Obviously, I don't want to yell like him, but I try to like emulate Wolfman Jack because I like that like free form.
The Wolfman.
I like that attitude.
Yeah. Did you ever watch, what was that movie that he was in?
American Graffiti.
American Graffiti.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the clips on YouTube.
I always wanted, when I was a kid, I always wanted to meet Wolfman Jack. I always thought it was cool.
What did you think about the Grease Man?
Not much. I didn't get what all the hype with him was and everything. I know he had his niche and stuff, but I didn't.
His racism is what crushed him. You can't be racist in radio.
You can't be racist at all, period.
I know,
Forget radio. Just, look, everybody is a human being. Someone might have a different skin tone color, and someone might be, or a different ethnicity, or they might be a different gender, or they might have been one gender or not. Everybody's a person, man. Everybody has a right to live and enjoy their life to the best of their abilities. Why should you let someone's skin tone prejudice your thoughts in the ways you think of people?
Well, it was more bad jokes he made, but it's just you don't touch that.
That's weakness, though. You can't make bad jokes about people who look different than you or might have, if they're slow, they might have, something that, slows them down, and you got to make that's called weakness. That means you're a pussy on the inside, and you just got to make fun of other people because you don't like the way that you are. On
that note, that's how I feel 24/7. I'm kidding. Thank
you,
Mike.
No, but I mean, I tease you at stuff like that. But
you taught me.
I tease you like crazy, but deep down inside, I care about you, and I've always had, your back.
I've been teased differently, so I'll take your teasing.
Yeah. Well, people, like I said, if someone says that look, I grew up, people used to call me Four Eyes. They used to call me a geek. They used to say I was weird. They used to say I was gay and stuff like that. Not gay, totally heterosexual. Yeah, I have bad vision. Sorry. I was born that way. I couldn't do anything about it. Vertically challenged. Yeah. What else you got? You got anything else you want to throw at me? Come on, bring it. Because
loser.
Sure, call me a loser. I'll tell you otherwise, though. And I don't have to settle things with my fists. I've got other ways to settle things. And it's just like, whatever. It's just like, look.
Like if you were single banging a girl.
No, that's not. I'm comfortable within my body. With all 5'8" of me, I am comfortable with the person I am. By no means am I perfect. I could always get better. I want to get better. And just every day I just wake up trying to be better than the day before.
Just like how you need to work on your radio show.
Yeah, I do. I'm enjoying that opportunity I have. I don't know when John Brennan's going to come up to me and go, dude, that's it. You can't do it anymore.
See, but why do you have that attitude every week? You got to believe in yourself. I know it can happen, but I feel like you got to be more confident in yourself.
No, I'm totally confident. I know that right now, and the great thing is that next year Chase is going to be 18. So I know that if I wanted to, and if I really, really, really wanted to pursue radio, like as an on-air host, I have enough tape that, I would say, one day, look, I can't keep working 7 days a week in promotions. At some point, I'm going to be like, okay, I've had enough. And I hope I get to say that versus them telling me that. But I think one day, I might like to do this full time, and I might have to go to Brewster, New York to do it and start out a small market. But
that'd be fun.
Who knows? I mean, shit. I would love to do more of a sports lean than what I'm doing now because we don't do enough sports on the Myco radio show.
But there's so much sports talk. There's not enough like FM talk, dude. You can get sports talk anywhere.
There is, but all the sports talk people. Okay, so the people on DAE, they can't talk about the Bucks or the Lightning the way that I can or that we can and everything. And I could give you an honest opinion. God forbid they say anything wrong. There's a hotline call going like, hey, we have the play-by-play rights, and we're not going to get our money from the team, so we're not going to say anything.
But you're also talking about WDAE as if you're expecting anything from them.
No, but I mean, look,
boring and vanilla.
But look at the sports stations up in Boston. I think the Hub and EEI are two of the better sports stations.
But they're even kind of beginning to be nicer to Brady. Like, they kiss Brady's ass.
Oh, totally. Because what was it? EEI had the Patriots, and then there was that one idiot that said something about Brady, the way he was kissing his kid, and, Brady stopped doing the show on that station. And then you look up in New York, the classic case up there, we have WFAN and gets ESPN. And holy shit, Mike Francesa's not doing afternoons anymore, but that guy's a blowhard. I mean, he had the opportunity. He thought that was the guy who thought, like someone else I know, that he was better than the station and bigger than the station. And the funny thing is, the 102.5 The Moan and Cox Media, even though it was here before I ever walked through the doors, it's going to be here way after I walk out the doors.
The difference, though, with Francesa and the name you're not bringing up is Francesa's not failing and not cheating. He's just kind of going down in flames, but he has good ratings.
Put it this way. When your target and your concerns are everybody you work with as opposed to who you work against, you have issues. That's when you fucking lost right there. The ratings will catch up to you sooner or later, and the ratings are always unkind. But if your concentration and your efforts are channeled towards the people you work with and the people that you're supposed to, compete with to make yourself better to compete against the people outside the building, you lost. You lost that. If I start worrying in my little Saturday show from 2 to 4 about, SBK's doing this or Johnny B's doing that or Calton, I've lost. I'm never going to succeed outside of that window. I got to worry about who else is against me from 2 to 4 on Saturday afternoons. And then on a broader scope, I got to worry about, Bone, X, and Hot and who's competing against those 3 stations outside the building. That's my focus. There's always going to be office politics, but the shit that you got to go through is you got to go outside and annihilate your competition. And oh, by the way, and I mentioned it earlier, radio is just one part of the competition. You got Spotify, you got cell phone, you got digital streaming services, you got all these other little fragmentations of competition for you. We got to put the best product together on the air to be the best and go-to destination for anyone who wants to get entertainment into the Tampa Bay area.
And that's how we're going to end the show. Keep up the good work.
Hoppy. This is Hoppy Hour.